A powerful gospel, huh? Jesus hits us right between the eyes. He doesn't hold any punches. Tells us exactly how it's going to be. But it isn't exactly how it's going to be because there's an awful lot of symbolism and variations of what the end of the world means. We can speculate about it. We don't know too much about it. We don't know what is going to come. In fact, even Jesus didn't know. He says, I don't know. That's up to my Father. So even there's an awful lot of ambiguity. But there's an awful lot of meat and potatoes in this gospel that we should take to heart. And let us not be disillusioned. Even this isn't just an Advent thing. Sure, it's very, very important to put emphasis on the Advent season and everything that it tells us to do and everything it invites us to do and all the beautiful symbolism. But this is a year-round project. If we pay attention and we come to church and we learn. You see, the thing is, somebody asked me, not just once, but 965,000 times, why do we have to go to church, Father Joe? You know, I can go out into the desert and see the beautiful desert and the sunshine. I used to get a lot of this when I was up in Boulder City for 30 years. Oh, I can go out on the lake and there's the paint pots across the lake, you know, the beautiful mountains that look like somebody painted them, especially at sunset, the reds and the blues and the ambers and the... I say, yeah, that's all well and good. He said, I can speak to God that way. Yeah, that's all well and good. But you don't come together as community. See, we don't just come together once a week, and some of you every day. We don't just come together to sing. We don't come together just to hear the word. We don't come together just to receive the Eucharist. We come together to celebrate Eucharist, which means to give thanks. We come together to realize that Eucharist also means reconciliation, brings us back closer to Christ. But there's something that very, very few people, and those people who think that they can go out and worship on the lake or in the middle of the desert or whatever, we come to be reminded about the seriousness of life and that this life isn't all. This isn't a rehearsal. This is all we have in our 60, 70, 90, 110 years, and the life to come is the one that we should be paying attention to. So we come to be enlightened and to be reminded. And so the beginning of this new liturgical year, Advent, we come together to be reminded that we better stay awake. We better not be drowsy. All symbolism about being in touch with the reality that this life is going to end. There are signs all around us. Now, at the last Mass, there was a family right over here visiting us from, oh, help me out, I just lost the name of that town in California, where the big fire was. Paradise City, huh? The whole family was right there. They had some great signs this past week, didn't they, in the past couple of weeks? Now, the sign to them is perhaps very serious. Perhaps that sign isn't so serious to us here living in the high desert. There are many signs. People in Alaska experience a sign this week, right? And you look at the pictures and you hear the news. Well, gee, we really feel sorry and we bind ourselves to our brothers and sisters in Alaska, but that sign, that earthquake, didn't touch us the way it did the people in Alaska. We have to take the sign or whatever it is and see what it means to us right down in here. I had a very dear friend in the parish. Her husband died at 42 years old, cancer of the kidneys. 2 years later, she comes down with cancer. I prayed with her an awful lot, anointed her. The night before she died, I was there. kneeling beside the bed, and after a while, you say all the words, you anoint, and there's nothing else to say. You don't know what to say anyway. And she was very, very weak, and then it seemed like she got an awful lot of strength, and she says, Father Joe, tomorrow I'm going to be in the kingdom. Wow. Huh? That was a sign for me. I hope that's my attitude when got to be ready. And it's not a morbid thing. It's not a morbid thing. One spiritual writer says, perhaps our moment of death is going to be the most important moment in our lives. I know what she meant. It's not a morbid thing. Just be in touch. 25 years ago, I've shared this with you, I think. 25 years ago, I put together my funeral. I know the readings, I know the songs, I know the prayers, and every November I kind of tweak it a little bit. Maybe I change a song, maybe I change a reading, a prayer or something. I know the readings, the songs. Father Bill is going to be the celebrant. And Father Bill said one time, he says, what if I die before you? And I said, that's okay with me. That's okay with me. Do you realize that there is a file up there in Boulder City at St. Andrews? Probably 40, 50, 60 people, families, who have taken up that challenge, and they wrote their last funeral, their last liturgy. They chose their readings, their songs, their priests, whatever. Huh? It's a way of being in touch. It's a way of being alert, as Jesus says in the gospel this morning. You got to read in between the lines. My mother, as she got deeper into the 80s, would be sitting in the patio in the backyard when I could get away from a parish for a couple of days. And every now and then there'll be a lull in the conversation. And she would ask, hey, Joe, what is God waiting for? Why doesn't he take me now? Because she couldn't get into her garden, which she loved. Every day she was in the garden. In fact, I told one of my sisters thought I was crazy, but I said, hey, Ann, remember how the Godfather died? Do you remember? Anybody remember? He was picking tomatoes. Wouldn't it be nice if Mom died in the garden? My sister Ann looked at me and said, what are you, crazy or something? But my mom said, well, Joe, what's God waiting for? I said, well, I had to create a little levity. And I said, I guess you're not good enough yet. She didn't like that. She didn't like that. And she said something that I'm not going to share with you right now, Okay? But you know what was beautiful about all that? She was in tune with the message of Advent, in tune with the message of every day, that we got to be alert, we got to be awake about the realities of life. Listen to, we just finished the Gospel of Mark during this past year. Now we're going to start studying the Gospel of Luke for this new year. And this is Mark in chapter 13. He kind of dovetails with the gospel today. Be watchful, be alert. You do not know when the time will come, whether in the evening or at midnight or at cockcrow or in the morning. What I say to you, I say to all, watch out. Be aware. Huh? Be aware. When you go to the doctors, that doctor has something to say. He has something to say about your health. When you go to your tax person in a couple of months, that tax person is going to say how much you can give to charity and how much you're not allowed to give to charity. Because that tax person has something to say. When you go to the woman at the desk at Star Nursery, That woman who knows an awful lot has something to say. She knows more about lantana and roses and olive trees than you do. She has something to say. Now, I tell you, I don't preach because I'm a priest. I don't preach because I'm called to preach. I preach because I have something to say. And that's why these people that think that they can just worship God outdoors, and that's okay. But couple it, marry it with getting together with community, because we got something to say. To be awake. Don't be drowsy. Don't go through life sleepy. Wake up. That's what Jesus says in the gospel today. I want to share with you a beautiful prayer that comes from the Native American tradition. It comes from Red Cloud Indian School in Pine Ridge, South Dakota. It puts into prayer what this liturgy is all about, what Advent's all about. O great Spirit, whose voice I hear in the winds, and whose breath gives life to everything in our world, hear me. I am small, I am weak. I need your strength, I need your wisdom. O great Spirit, let me walk in beauty and make my eyes ever behold the red and the purple of all the sunsets. O great Spirit, make my hands respect the things that you have made, and my ears sharp to hear your voice all around us. Make me wise so that I may understand the things that you have taught my people. Let me learn the lessons you have hidden in every rock, leaf, tree, river. I seek strength, O great Spirit, not to be greater than my brother or my sister, but to fight the greatest enemy of all, myself. Make me always ready to come to you with clean hands and straight eyes, so when life fades, as the fading sunset does, my spirit may come to you without shame.